Welcome to episode 402 of the 365 Message Center Show. Someone reliable said that means it's an error code for you haven't made payment. So hit the subscribe button. We're asking that far too early. Anyway, messages, file attachment control in Teams. It's a jumbled message, but it actually has some hidden gems. We'll get into that in the show.
And we will also talk about the new agent, the researcher in Microsoft 365 Copilot, but with computer use. What does that mean for using content that's maybe behind a paywall? How does that all work? We'll dive into that.
Yeah, and look, if you don't like being told that AI may or may not get it wrong, you have an option to get rid of that message. What? Let's talk about that on the show. Let's roll.
You know, Daryl, I'm going to take an exception to what you just said in the intro about if you want to turn off the disclaimer, you have that option. But I'm going to wait until we get to the message because what you said is wrong.
Oh, I did?
Slightly. No, not wrong as in the message.
Oh, part, yeah.
But like the way you said it.
Okay.
We'll get to that. One other thing that I want to point out, you're right. This is episode 402, which is the error code for payment required. If you look that up, people go and look at that HTTP error codes. So you could, if you're in YouTube, click the dots and click thanks. You can drop us a couple bucks there. And then you could watch the rest of the episode. This is our only episode that we can make that. We could say that because it's the error code. So anyway,
look, you got to say too, like it's been a huge effort to get to this point. So we welcome any donations, even if it's your time or your advice or your wisdom. Just drop it in the comments.
Absolutely.
Shall we get started, Daniel?
We definitely should. And I'd like to get started with a message, Daryl, that you're going to give us all of the information. You're going to dive into this in depth.
Going to dive deep.
Because there's so much information about this new configuring tool group since Copilot Studio.
Correct. So anyone who knows me and the depth and wealth of knowledge that I have in the Power Platform, I bring to you this message. Microsoft Copilot Studio, add and configure tool groups to agents. This is MC 1180873. Why did this make our list? Yeah, I left enough of a pause there for you to answer and yell it at the screen. If you are a message center person like we are, and you are going through and trying to figure out what's the messages about here, and what's this one, come across this one. It announces some stuff. It says, I don't know. This feature introduces a streamlined workflow for adding Outlook and SharePoint actions to agents by curating action groups. Sounds exciting. We'd like to know more. The reason we have this message in our list today, this week, is because it is an absolutely poor excuse for a message. I don't often rag on it. Sometimes I joke about stuff like this. Daniel will sometimes get on the soapbox. This is my time. Message Center, Message Center people, you're fine. You've created the container for this. Power Platform people, shame on you. This message is a waste of space. Give us a link. Tell us what this means. Pictures or not, fine, but surely you've got an article out there somewhere that tells me what this thing means, because it looks interesting. You're clickbaiting me, but I've got nothing to click.
Yeah, it very much is clickbait, but there is nothing to click, which is ridiculous. This is 3 sentences, 4 sentences, whatever. I mean, you might as well not even put it there. I'm assuming this is coming off of the Power Platform conference. They thought they needed to put information out there, but come on, give me a break.
Yep. Like it's a placeholder that someone didn't come back to before they hit publish. I'll leave it at that. Because there's nothing else to say. It was published on the 27th of October. We've got no dates. We've got nothing. So segueing into something that has a whole lot more detail. And I'm building it up, Daniel, because we've just gone to the most disappointing message this week. Now we're getting into something more interesting.
So this is another feature announced this week, part of the Power Platform conference that happened. App Builder Agent available via Frontier starting October 28th, MC1180956. Remember, Frontier is that early use program, right, in for Copilot. So that's what Frontier is, the program. So this is a new agent that Microsoft is making available to us, like Researcher and some others, app builder that allows you to build an app. Yes. See, I heard you all saying it along with me. So this is something that I think a lot of people are looking forward to. Is we're creating lots of apps. Wouldn't it be great to create an app, get started, have the framework of an app, and have some of the stuff worked out that is maybe monotonous or it's just time consuming? Wouldn't it be great if we could get a jump start on that? Well, that's what this agent is meant for, is to really bring that designing experience of an app and building it for you right there within the agent. So you can, of course, they're highlighting here in the second screenshot, you can audit apps in the Power Platform Admin Center. Wonderful. There's actually an improvement that's coming on this. We're not going to talk about it this week, but it was in the Message Center about, even more auditing that's going to happen and in one spot in the Power Platform Center. So this is, I think, something that is exciting to see the marketing. It's exciting to hear the marketing. What will be even more exciting is to actually get your hands on it. So I did see some comments on the socials after this was announced of, yeah, this is cool. I just want to get my hands on it and see if it's actually, helps my productivity when I am creating apps. And I feel the same way. So this is available now. It started October 28th, so the end of last month, to again for the Frontier program, which means it probably will be available within, I'm guessing, the next couple of months, 3 months or so, maybe rolling out to everybody else, but we'll see. They do not give us an indication of how long it'll be. So learn more about the Frontier program down there at the link at the very bottom. I would like a little bit more information about this agent, so like a link to learn more or whatever, but at least we get screenshots on this, Daryl. I don't need to get on my soapbox on this one. I will transition now, and I'm going to upload my intro to this next message to you via Teams. So go look for it in our chat in Teams.
Well, yeah, easily. I mean, even though you're a guest or I'm a guest in your org or whatever, vice versa, that was automatically shared with me. Oh, how about that? Microsoft Teams file attachment control now enabled by default in external one-to-one and group chats. Huh? MC1181772. Yeah, okay. Well, Daniel and I are in agreement that we think that this message may have been written by AI, because it just, if we're thinking about it, working through it, it feels like there could be many different ways to say this simpler. What's the essence of this? We think that it means that when you're in a group chat, one-on-one, or in a meeting chat, and you share a file, that it is automatically shared with the recipients or participants in that chat, which can be problematic depending on what you're trying to share. And this provisioning, sharing, it seems to be made easier with this process. It's going to, if you're sharing it to a group in a chat, or if there's any external people in that chat, they will see a little tag on the file that says it is from an external source. The thing is, like, it feels like this is already in place, that when you go and share something, it is automatically sharing it. And where would that file go? Of course, if it's in a OneDrive scenario, in a chat scenario, it'll be uploaded to your OneDrive and shared from there. But what did get my attention, that it is a mention of loop in this, and it's confusing. I wish it was worded clearer, but it seems to indicate that when you are using a loop component in a one-to-one, a group chat, or a meeting chat with external people, that it will be shared with external people. So we know that you can share, supposedly, a loop component with external people, a loop page. There's a few hoops to jump through. It's a bit icky. They need to improve it, but maybe this is going to be part of that improvement. It will share it just like with the usual B2B way, where if it's the first time I'm sharing it with you and you're not a guest account in my organization, then it will take you through that process. If we have MFA as a requirement as part of that, then the guest will have to go through and register for MFA, and then they can access the file, which seems to include loops now. And Daniel, asking this question, do you think that this might also mean that loop components shared in meetings, such as meeting notes or meeting chat, could be also shared with our external attendees?
It seems like to me that it could be, because that meeting chat is listed here as and they're calling out loop specifically, and that's what those notes are. So I feel like that is exactly what this is. It is enabling that you're creating. That has been a big spot, a hole in that working. Hey, we're in a meeting. I'm using notes. Great, but I can't see it. So cool. Well, I'm assuming that when you click that button and it notes in a meeting, right? And it's generating that loop, that it will then share it with the external people as it says it will, with the process. Like you mentioned, if you require MFA, it's, all that, yada, yada. So,
yeah. And that loop file, usually in that scenario, sits in the organizer's OneDrive. So following that flow. Let's read a little bit between the lines, and I think this would be more exciting, but it hasn't been mentioned. So, disclaimer, and that's a little call forward to something else we'll talk about. Disclaimer, this may or may not be covered by this message. What else is something, Daniel? Something else that is a meeting artifact that may or may not be shared with guests in a meeting.
Are you talking about chat? Like recap?
Okay.
The recording.
Yes, he got it just in time before I finished.
Sorry, I was like, what?
The recording.
Yes.
Recording.
Right.
That's a file. It sits in the OneDrive of the organizer.
It is.
Will that be automatically provisioned and shared with the external guests?
Why not?
And will they be taken through? It's not mentioned here. Disclaimer ending, but hey, there you go.
I'm glad I got it right in the end.
You got it right on, man. It was like one of those 3-point long shots.
I did say recap, which really includes that, but yes, I get you. Yeah.
It was one of those guess the answer and the teacher moments, the answer and the teacher's head moments.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, when is this happening? Targeted release begin late October.
Last week.
And complete by mid-November. General availability worldwide begins rolling out mid-January. We'll be getting our answers very soon, and I reckon we'll create some content around that. Yeah. Okay. Leading into all this one that had us guessing in terms of what does this mean? How many layers to this? Daniel, take it away.
Well, this is a standard message, what we call standard message. And the one we just did was a quick one. So who knows how long we're going to talk about this. Microsoft 365 Copilot introducing researcher with computer use. MC1181726. Daryl's right. We were asking, what does this mean? Not, we read the thing and we looked at the information, and there's even a video, and it's really cool. And maybe we're playing for it for you right now. But it is this is interesting where researcher, this is the agent where you can ask it questions. It takes a while. It goes out and does all the research, right? And gives you a very, a verbose, detailed oriented kind of response of here's the information you're looking for. Well, what about those scenarios where maybe you are, you have gated, meaning behind paywalls or behind a login information that it can find, but man, it can't get to it. Like, for instance, Gartner research, maybe you have a subscription to that and you want to include that in your research. Well, what this is doing is you're using this researcher with computer use. You say, let's go. And you can select internal information too, SharePoint and all that kind of stuff, right? But it will then go out and it basically fires up a private, a secure machine, basically, for it to use to do the browsing. So it's going out and it's using that secure, and it says secure. Like they want you to be confident that this is a secure because, and the reason why I think they want you to be confident that it's secure is because if you do need to click that button, meaning it gets to a position where it's like, oh, I need to log in, then you can click the button to engage with it. You can click the take control, where it is part of the experience. It's going to say, hey, I'm trying to get into this information, but there's a login page. I can click take control. It'll take me to the environment, to the computer, this virtual computer, and then I can log in and then say, okay, keep going. I'm very much I'm excited about this because, Daryl, this does alleviate some of those scenarios where I am trying to get the full picture, but to do that, Copilot needs access to that content that's behind a login. And it's not just, I think it's not just like paywalled stuff like magazines and newspapers and research sites that you have to, log into. But, I could see a scenario where this is a login behind systems that are publicly facing, but, that you need to log into to get to the content. If you tell researcher, go there and do that, then it's going to go, okay, but I have to log in, provide your information. So Daryl, do you think this is something that people should be excited about? And what are you thinking of any kind of caveats of, well, what about this or that? Has any of that come to mind? We don't have access to this just yet, and I'll talk about that in a little bit of how you do. But any thoughts on this? On what the pros and cons could be?
So this it's using that. I guess it's an open AI technology as well, because it's all part of Chat GPT, etc. Reverse that. That they have a way of getting an agent to go and browse a page for you, and it understands the content and steps through, and it can book your tickets or whatever, but you're able to watch it slowly meander around the page and eventually get to that. So you see the full process, and that you could sort of jump in at any time and say, well, that doesn't look right. Whereas this one it's going through as much of the process as it can, and when it needs your interaction, it will. I think that's probably a downside to it. I'd like to see the full process, but on the flip side, it's doing it in a machine that's separated from your environment. So at least as you're going through those steps, it's an isolated session that can be extinguished at the end of that. Kind of like the thing that Apple promised around being able to do with their AI on their phones, but never got around to delivering.
Yeah, and I think this is things like, and the message says this, now you can ask researcher, and if you click on the more information links, that takes you to a tech community blog post, basically, is you can ask researcher to create a presentation. So it'll turn that research into a compelling presentation. That'll be interesting. Is it actually compelling? Analyze trends over the industry. And I think that has a lot to do with, Gartner and some others that are, doing that research on their own and providing that to their subscribers. But I think this could be interesting, especially for those who make decisions, are wanting to make some decisions. Should we go this way or that way in the organization with our company? Should I invest in this area or that area? Do some research and help me find the applicable content that can help inform my decision. I think it's cool. I think this computer use component will be interesting, and I'd like to see how people use that. And if you have thoughts on how to use this, throw it down in the comments down below on the video here. We'd love to hear. There's also a component of it provides a terminal. So in that computer, right? So you're going to be able to create and do some coding. It's all very interesting, I think, on how this might happen and be able to use. Could it do some research and then come back and go, well, the research indicates here's how you do this, and let's use PowerShell to do the coding. And I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting to see what people use this for. It is available now for those tenants in the Frontier program. We talked about what that was before. So it's probably going to be a few months before it rolls out to everybody else. I also have questions on payment. How much is this going to cost? Is this included with a Copilot M365 Copilot license, or because it says what you need to do to prepare? Yes, you have to have that license. Is that it? Because if so, this is very interesting in that we're getting this temporary secure virtual machine. Anyway, I think this is a very interesting concept for sure. Daryl, let's get back to quick mentions with this next
you're
one.
setting the challenge.
But this is the one I said. I think you didn't misstate it, but the way you said it, I think is wrong.
Yeah.
What is Microsoft taking away that's maybe a safeguard for Copilot?
Well, it's a warning. Microsoft Copilot Chat AI disclaimer updates. MC 118766. Oh, sorry. 11811766. We got there. When you enter a prompt in the Copilot Chat, we often, in training, and we labor this point, say Copilot could be wrong. AI could be wrong. Take care that when you read these results, you check the sources. Good advice. It seems some people feel that that's, I don't know, don't put that in my face. It's a bit distracting. I might want to, remove that. And Microsoft, this is what I misstated. I said that, you could turn it off. Well, actually, let's correct that. Microsoft is going to turn it off by default. Yeah, that little disclaimer underneath the box that says this content is AI generated. You won't get the Surgeon's General warning on the side of your cigarette packet now, people.
This is crazy. This is nuts. This is the complete opposite way that they should be doing this.
Responsible AI?
I'm sorry. It really is completely opposite of what they should be doing.
Mm,
It should be, if you want to turn this off for some reason, I don't know why you would want to, then you should have to go in there and turn it off. And it's
yeah.
already too small anyway. I don't know. Anyway,
Well, even more so. Remember, we tried this. What is below the box as you're entering the prompt?
nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where you'd put the warning, even if it's small text. Look, small text is not going to distract you. Okay, well, here's the positive spin. Not spin, but the positive aspect of this update. If you want it on, you can turn it on. Good. When you do, you can put some of your own text there and link it off to a custom page to guide people around the policy, the additional guidance you might want to provide within your organization. Yay, that's a good thing. I think that leave it on by default, turn it off if you want to, and offer the edit option to customize the text and provide the link. That's what we recommend. Don't turn it off, Microsoft. And it's almost like a way of saying, just forget about it. Forget about it. These results may or may not be accurate. It's actually, Daniel, one of the other bugbears I have about results. Last comment, I promise. When AI responds from its training data and it doesn't provide citations, you should go and check, is this information correct? But you've got no citations to check from. So maybe this is the way of fudging it through. Well, we can remove the message and then we won't remind you to look for the citations.
Daryl, I just want to remind our watchers and listeners that there is that thumbs down button at the bottom of this message. Oh, yeah. If you agree with me, then go ahead and click that thumbs down and say, this update, I'm not going to tell you what to say, but what I'm going to say is, this is the wrong way to do this. This is irresponsible. It should be the other way around. This should be that it is on by default, meaning the disclaimer. And if I want to change where it goes to or what it says, then I can do that, or I can turn it off if I have, anyway. I was going to say something. If I'm not thinking clearly and I want to turn this off completely, then I should be able to do that. But that shouldn't be the default. Anyway.
Yeah. And thank you, community. When you see that Daniel and I are misunderstanding this, and you correct us, you correct our sources, then you drop it in the chat and in the comments, and we thank you for that. So do that. Join in and let's talk about this, because it's not responsible AI, in my opinion. It's rolling out early December worldwide in GCC, and GCC High and DoD mid-December 2025. Those GCC High, DoD, they are the special tenants, right? They probably would care more about warning people. Mm-hmm. I want to hear what Microsoft's got to say about this. What's your disclaimer about your disclaimer? All right, we'll finish off with perhaps another soapbox moment. Something happening in OneDrive that doesn't really sit well with content managers.
Microsoft OneDrive for Business. For business? I mean, anyway. Yeah. Microsoft OneDrive for Business, agents in OneDrive. MC1181765. So the announcement here is that they're going to allow you in your own OneDrive to be able to create an agent, or more, and more than one. I mean, and so you're going to be able to create an agent, select some files, create an agent from that, or just say create agent and then go through the process. Okay, great. So why would you want to do that? Maybe you have some files in your OneDrive, or maybe it could be that you want to use your agent to say, where is this file? Because your OneDrive is so is so messy, and say, hey, create me a document based on this document that I can't even find anyway, and it does it for you, right? Or whatever, right? So there's lots of use cases for an agent. However, okay, fine. You create an agent in your OneDrive. It doesn't 100% sit well with me, but I get it. I get why some people would want to do that. Cool. But then This message talks about sharing that agent. So let's talk about what OneDrive, the purpose of OneDrive. Okay. Not what it is, meaning the way it often turns into for people in an organization, but what is the purpose of OneDrive? It is where I work, where I do things. If I am creating content that should be consumed by other people on a longer term basis, meaning I share something with Daryl to say, hey, what do you think about this? Or, give me some comments about this before I send it out to everybody else. Fine. But when I send it out to everyone else, and it's a working document, it's a document that should be used for business purposes, that's when we're moving that stuff to SharePoint, or Teams, which is SharePoint. But that's when you move it out of OneDrive, because it becomes an artifact that other people need to use. And when I win the lottery, I am not going to go through every one of my documents in OneDrive and go, oh, Daryl cares about this one. I'm going to give this to him. I'm going to make sure that I'm turning my computer off immediately. I'm putting it in a box and shipping it to my company. And I'm saying, y'all figure it out. Right. So why would I create an agent in my OneDrive and share that agent out to people so that they can interact with that agent about my content in my OneDrive? I'm not sure it fits, Daryl, within that temporary kind of transition thinking that I was just talking about. I'm sure there's some scenarios. Can you think of any where this would make sense of keeping content in OneDrive long enough for people to use an agent based upon that content? What do you think?
I think it's when I'm running a project for my company out of my OneDrive, and I don't want to move those files into a team or a team site. So I provide an agent that will allow my team members that I have shared ad hoc the ability to ask questions of the content that I have curated in my OneDrive. Yeah, that's a great way to use it. Can you hear the tone in my voice that's probably not a great thing?
Well, and it actually says it in this message. You may wish to, at the very bottom. The third thing, that bullet is, it is encourage users to explore agents to improve project efficiency using AI. No.
From your OneDrive.
No. No, I'm not going to do that. If you're working out of your OneDrive on a project is something, I think. Now, maybe it's a project only for me. And that happens, right? Your boss says, okay, do something, and you run this project and we'll report back to me every once in a while. Okay, I can understand why you might think I'll keep that in my OneDrive. But and maybe you're having conversations with your boss in one-to-one chat. And so we know those files live in your OneDrive, right? Remember. So I can kind of understand that may be where you're working out of OneDrive. And so maybe you create an agent and share it with your boss to say, here, just talk to the agent if you want to know progress. I don't know. I don't like this. I've said that a lot today, haven't I? I don't like this because it is emphasizing the use of OneDrive as the place to work out of. And yes, but not a way of doing that a long term. And I feel like agents are more for longer term, using content. I don't know. Does that make sense? Like it
does. Yeah. And there may be two use cases for your OneDrive. You're allowing people to experiment safely with creating agents and trying stuff out on their own content. Oh, okay, I've got the confidence now to be able to create this To be honest, though, like,
Oh,
I mean, Microsoft's actually kind of left the door open there anyway on your SharePoint sites, and anyone can create an agent unless you've explicitly somehow turned it off for everybody.
So that brings me up another question. Thank you, Daryl, for saying that. Does this reason over, because on OneDrive, it's not just your files, it is also all the content you've been interacting with across SharePoint. Will this agent include that content as well, or just your files? I don't know. So
yeah, because you can go to quick access, browse the libraries that are available to you across your teams and team sites, and maybe it allows you to create the agent for the team, but you're consuming it within your OneDrive. We're really stretching it here, aren't we?
We are stretching it. I highly doubt it. But this is some interesting, I still don't like it. So not yet. Maybe it'll improve and it'll change, and I don't know. But quit working out of your OneDrive, people. A longer term, get that content in so other people can access it longer term. Anyway. General availability worldwide, rolling out mid-November 2025. Is there something going on in mid-ish November? Expect to be completed by late November 2025.
Someone's lighting a fire.
They're igniting this. So Microsoft Ignite conference is happening mid-November. So, I'm sure this will be something that'll be highlighted, and there will be at least one session that, showcases this functionality.
Speaking of, if Ignite, you're going to it,
please find me. I'll have some stickers, limited edition. I think I haven't ordered any new ones, so I have what I have. So if you see me, get a sticker. They may be gone. So I'd love to talk to you and meet you and take a selfie and all that kind of stuff. So if you're there, would love that. Make sure you also, Daryl mentioned it at the top of the show, subscribe. Give us a like, a thumbs up. And if you're on the mobile app, what do you do, Daryl? If you're in the regions that support it, what do you do?
I'm getting hyped about the button, the hype button, and when it might arrive in other regions.
Yes, hype it up, people. Thank you so much. Remember, this is episode 402, the payment required episode. So click the thanks button. Anyway, thanks everybody for joining us.
Bye for now.